Good Friday morning, and thank you for joining us here on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get right to your headlines. New this morning, Minnesota Senate Republicans filing an ethics complaint against Senate President Bobby Joe Champion. The scrutiny focuses on legal work that Champion performed for the founder of a Minneapolis violence prevention group that would receive a $1 million state grant under a bill proposed by Champion. According to court documents, Champion is listed as the attorney for the Reverend Jerry McAfee's nonprofit Salem Inc. on multiple mortgage-related cases in 2022. Champion has now requested an advisory opinion from the ethics subcommittee and has been removed as that subcommittee's chair, although he says, "I maintain there was no conflict of interest." A look at Wall Street this morning. Markets starting off pretty mixed as the White House pushes a trade war with China even further. New this morning, China is firing back, saying it's raising tariffs on U.S. goods from 84% to 125%. And now President Trump acknowledging some Americans will feel the pinch. Alice Barr is in Washington with more.
Hi there. This week's Wall Street whiplash highlighting the damage the uncertainty can do to the economy as China again retaliated this morning with even higher tariffs on U.S. goods and a quickly escalating trade war. A wild week on Wall Street, winding down with another downturn on Thursday, erasing part of Wednesday's historic recovery as investors eye the growing trade war with China. China this morning announcing even higher 125% retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. President Trump with his cabinet acknowledging what he calls short-term pain.
There'll always be transition difficulty.
While insisting negotiations are going well with other trading partners who got a 90-day reprieve in punishing tariffs and suggesting China could follow.
I think that we'll end up working out something that's very good for both countries.
No sign of that yet, with the White House clarifying total tariffs on Chinese imports are now 145%, including a previous fentanyl-related penalty. The rift in that critical trade relationship set to drive up prices as small businesses, like this Utah hobby shop and its customers, brace for impact.
I'm a little nervous that I'm not going to get some of the product I ordered or I'm going to have to pay more for stuff.
The instability making market forecasters like JP Morgan Chase stick with predictions that the U.S. economy could tip into a recession. While on a separate front, the Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration to reverse course on a Maryland man who was wrongly deported to an El Salvador prison. After days of dispute, the High Court saying the administration must facilitate the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, though the justices did not back all of a lower court's ruling ordering his retrieval, saying the White House deserves deference to conduct foreign affairs. Back on the economy, some good news with a new report showing inflation cooled in March from the month before, more than expected, though that data comes from before the trade war really started ratcheting up, with economists again expecting that prices are going to be forced back upward. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
Well, happening right now, crews in New York City trying to figure out what caused a helicopter to come crashing down into the Hudson River. This happened shortly after 3 p.m. on Thursday. 6 people are dead, including 3 children. A family of 5 and the pilot were all killed in the crash. Siemens executive Augustine Escobar, his wife and their 3 children were on board the chopper. The children were 4, 5, and 11 years old. Witnesses described what they saw as that chopper crashed.
It just kind of exploded midway, and the parts just, like right over here, right outside the Empire State, just kind of fell apart. And it was the most terrifying thing that we've actually witnessed.
In videos of the crash, the helicopter appears to break apart mid-air before crashing into the water. We know it was a tourist helicopter that was involved, and authorities say it appears to have lost control just before crashing. Well, back here at home, developing right now, new details on a wild investigation of an alleged fraud scheme in Eden Prairie. A couple is now facing federal charges, accused of funding a lavish lifestyle with $15 million they allegedly stole with the help of at least 3 other live-in girlfriends. The indictment says 38-year-old Gabriel Luther and 42-year-old Elizabeth Brown overbilled Medicare, Medicaid, and other insurers with their neurotherapy business. The 6-year police investigation began with police looking into concerns about possible sex trafficking because of the several young women living in the house.
The whole thing, you couldn't make it up.
Do these charges come as a surprise to you?
Absolutely not.
Documents show the other girlfriends did not profit from the scheme, so they aren't facing any charges. The couple is scheduled to be in court later this month. All right, now, a bill inspired by the deaths of two young men is one step closer to becoming law. The Senate passed the Brady Ani and Joe Anderson Safety Act yesterday. It's already passed the House. Brady and Joe both drowned while scuba diving for lake weed removal companies. Neither had received scuba training and each lacked key safety equipment. Now, the bill pushed by their parents would require these companies to ensure that their employees have scuba certification, proper gear, and are CPR trained. This morning, inside a Los Angeles courtroom, the next legal step in the high-profile and highly controversial push to free Lyle and Eric Menendez. The brothers, convicted of gunning down their parents inside their Beverly Hills mansion more than 3 decades ago, have the support of family members, but not LA's district attorney, who says the men haven't taken full responsibility for the murders. Jay Gray is in Los Angeles with details on today's hearing.
Good morning. You know, this case has been the subject of TV, movies, documentaries, and tense debate. Today, the legal drama again plays out in front of a judge who will determine if Eric and Lyle Menendez, currently serving a sentence of life with no chance at parole, could have the opportunity for a chance at freedom. Inside the Van Nuys Courthouse today, the latest in the legal, political, and for many moral tug-of-war over Lyle and Eric Menendez. A hearing to consider if the brothers, convicted of brutally killing their parents more than 35 years ago, should be granted a resentencing hearing and ultimately released. The motion, initiated by a former Los Angeles district attorney, is not supported by the current LADA, who believes the brothers haven't acknowledged lies they initially told investigators or taken full responsibility for the murders.
They do not meet the standards for resentencing. They pose an unreasonable risk of danger to the community.
Why are we here? Justice! Why are we here? Justice!
The Menendez family and supporters continue to push for their freedom.
We are not asking for sympathy. We are demanding fairness.
Arguing the brothers acted in self-defense after years of abuse by their father. Accusations outlined in multiple television movies and series about the case.
It really did actually move a lot of people to understand the childhood trauma that Eric and I suffered.
Family members also point to their work in prison, earning college degrees, creating hospice and mentoring programs, as well as a program for inmates who are victims of sexual abuse.
They have done more good from inside of a prison than most people do in their lifetime.
The question the courts now begin to answer is if Lyle and Eric Menendez will spend the rest of their lifetime behind bars. There is another avenue to freedom for the Menendez brothers. California Governor Gavin Newsom has initiated a parole board review of the case as part of a process to consider commuting their sentences. Jay Gray, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Developing this morning, fire investigators are on scene in Minneapolis trying to figure out what caused multiple fires at this building on Cedar Avenue South. It's right by the West Bank Pharmacy. The deputy fire chief says crews found fire in the stairwell and on the inside door of 2 different locations. Crews knocked down the fire pretty quickly, though. They did find a victim who potentially overdosed. That person is now being treated by paramedics. This morning, parents in Burnsville are pushing for their school district to change the graduation date. Right now, the ceremony falls on Eid, which is a major Muslim holiday on June 6th. This is not the first time we've heard this concern from some Muslim students and parents. Eden Prairie and Brooklyn Center recently changed their graduation dates to accommodate the holiday. Parents attended a listening session ahead of the district school board meeting to voice their concerns.
Rescheduling graduation to recognize Eid sends a powerful message. Every student matters.
But some say changing the date now would be costly to families who have already made travel arrangements.
Changing the date would definitely affect them, both financially and recreational-wise.
So school and district leaders say a graduation ceremony will definitely take place on June 6th, but they are now considering adding a second ceremony on a different date to accommodate the holiday. Heads up if you're traveling in the next few weeks here. You're going to notice some construction at MSP as the airport temporarily closes one of its 4 runways for safety improvements. The Metropolitan Airports Commission says the runway will be closed 2 separate times from April 14th to May 23rd, and then again from August 18th to September 26th. Crews say they'll update runway pavement, improve drainage, and rebuild taxiways. Officials say this will improve efficiency long term. Make sure you stick with us. More news and weather coming up right after the break.